Hello everyone. Today I'm going to recap a 2021 American vampire thriller film called Night Teeth. Please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you like the video. At the beginning of the movie, we are told that a long time ago, vampires and humans used to live together, hunting each other. But in Boyle Heights of Los Angeles, people faced the vampire, after which there was an agreement between humans and vampires. After which humans made 3 rules for them. In the first rule, the vampires were asked to stay hidden from the people, due to which people gradually started believing the vampire to be alive, forgot them, but during this time, the vampires became very rich. According to the second rule, vampires would never bite a person without their consent, and the third rule was that vampires would never enter Boyle Heights without permission. Now the scene changes and we see Jay and his girlfriend Maria. They're going somewhere in their car. That's when Jay realizes that a vampire named Victor is chasing them. He somehow escapes from there. After this he goes to tell his allies about this. But after going there he sees that all his allies are dead, and their dead bodies are hanging upside down. After this he goes back to his car where he does not find Maria, seeing which he gets very upset. After this we see Jay with his brother Benny. Here he offers him a job and asks him to work as a driver in his place for a night. He gives him his car keys and tells him that he will get good money for this work. Benny is very happy to hear this and gets ready to work. Jay asks him to tell his name. Jay when he reaches the location. In the next scene, we see that Benny has reached the location, where he meets Zoe and Blair, and he has to work for them. After this, Zoe gives him 5 locations and tells him that through these locations, they have to reach their last location by morning. After this they reach their first location, which is a nightclub. On the other hand, we see Jay, who is remembering the agreement between humans and vampires. Just then one of his companions comes there, and Jay tells him that now our agreement with the vampire is completely over. He also tells that till tomorrow morning, only one of Victor and me will be left alive. After this the scene turns back to Benny, who is sitting in the car waiting for Blair and Zoe. Then he finds a red-colored coin there, which he keeps with him because he had seen that with this coin, only Zoe and Blair had got entry into the club. After this, Zoe and Blair come out of the club and ask him to go to another club. On reaching there they ask Benny to stay in the car and they go inside. Now during this time, Benny starts getting bored and he was feeling a bit strange. So he calls Jay and tries to tell him all these things, but Jay does not pick up his call. Then he sees that some bags are kept on the back seat of the car. He checks and sees that a lot of money is kept inside them, and there is a lot of blood on that money, which gets on his face as well. Just then Benny sees a police officer there. Seeing that, he gets very scared and goes inside the club to escape from him. Therefore entry. Benny uses the same red coin that he found outside the club. Benny then goes inside a room where he sees 2 men, Max and Daniel, tied up and Zoe and Blair drinking their blood. Seeing this, Benny gets very scared and understands that both of them are vampires. Then Zoe attacks him because she is thinking of Benny as Jay. Benny gets very scared and tells her that he is not Jay, but his brother Benny, who has come to work at his place for a night. So they proceeds to drink his blood. But Blair convinces her that with his help they can reach Jay. We then see that of the 2 men whose blood they were drinking, Max was dead. Seeing this, Daniel gets very angry and says that you cannot kill a person like this, and the bosses of the vampires will not leave you. Hearing this, so he laughs and says that they can't do anything. After this both of them start drinking Daniel's blood, due to which he also dies. Seeing this, Benny gets very scared and runs away from there and comes out of the club. So he finds the same police officer whom he had run inside fearing. That police officer was standing there waiting for him. He tells the officer that the vampires are drinking human blood inside the club, but on hearing this, the police officer thinks that Benny has taken drugs. That's why he starts arresting him. But at the same time, Zoe and Blair come there and stop him from doing so, and tells him that he is their driver. Here we get to know that police officer also works for Victor and knows everything about vampires. They then rescue Benny from the police officer and tells him that he will stay with them till their work is over. Hearing this, Benny gets very scared and tries to text Jay, but so he snatches his phone and breaks it. After this we see Victor, who had kept many people imprisoned in his house so that he can suck their blood. Now Victor meets a vampire named Grace, who is one of the bosses of the vampire, and she is very angry with Victor because Victor broke the agreement. which was going on for so many years between humans and vampires. Here Victor tries to convince Grace that we have to live as if we are hiding from them, and as if we are living in a prison. He says that he has become very upset by these things. Hearing this, Grace explains to him that now the leader of humans, Jay, will come after the vampires, which will start a war between the vampire and the humans. On hearing this, Victor understands that Grace is not going to listen to him. That is why he kills Grace and her friend Eva there. The scene then shifts and we see Blair and Benny, where Blair tells him that the vampires have 5 bosses in Los Angeles and that they control them here. Benny asks him about Victor, to which Blair tells him that Victor is not the boss. She also tells him that tonight we are going to kill all the leaders. She then tells him that her brother Jay is the leader of the crew at Boyle Heights, who defeated the vampires long ago, and that they know how to beat the vampires. It is revealed here that Victor had sent Blair and Zoe to kill the boss of the vampires, and his plan was to kill Jay after killing all of them. But Jay himself did not come and sent Benny here in his place. Next we see Jay, along with one of his companions, approach a boss of the vampire named Gio, and this time he is horribly injured. Jay asks him about Victor, to which Gio tells him that he is coming soon and he will kill all the bosses of the vampire and everyone in Jay's group. Upon hearing this, Jay feels that Victor has done this to Gio, but Gio tells him that all this was done by the girls, Blair and Zoe, now because Gio was quite weak at this time. He tries to attack Jay and his companion for blood, but they shoot and kill him. After this, we see Benny, who reaches the 3rd location with Blair and Zoe, and this time they both take Benny inside the club with them, but there they are surrounded by the people of Night Legion, and they are also vampire hunters. Here Benny attacks their leader, which leads to a fight between all of them, and all the people of the Night Legion are killed. Just then we see that Jay reaches the same club with his group and sees Benny with the 2 girls. He tries to stop him, but Benny does not hear his voice, so Jay starts following him. Just then a vampire tries to stop him, but Jay attacks him, causing him to burn badly and die. After this we see Benny, who was hurting his hand during the fight, so he reaches his house and Blair and Zoe also come with him. Then we see that when Jay is going with one of his companions, a police officer starts chasing him, which stops him. Here we see that this is the same police officer who was about to arrest Benny in the club. He then comes to Jay and tells that Victor has invited him to a restaurant to meet him. On the other hand, when Benny's grandmother is going to bandage him, then Blair reaches there too, and she asks to bandage him. We then see Zoe, who calls Victor, who asks her how many of his bosses she killed. Zoe explains that she has killed 3 bosses. Now Victor would have understood that. Now we only have to kill the last boss. We then see Jay, who reaches the restaurant to meet Victor, where Victor tells him that he killed all the people who had compromised, and now only you are left here. He tries to make an offer to Jay, but he flatly refuses the offer, and says that Benny has not done anything. That's why you leave him, and if you want, keep me in exchange for him. Victor tells him that he will not let anyone go, and he knows this very well. On hearing this, Jay gets angry with Victor and attacks him, and the bullet goes through Victor's head, but because he was a vampire, his healing power was very high. Here Victor tells him that the food he is eating is nothing but his girlfriend Maria. In the next scene, we see Benny, who takes Blair and Zoe to their next location, though they find the last boss of the vampires, whose name is Rocco. Here Zoe begins to implicate him in her words to kill him. On the other hand, we see Benny and Blair chatting, where Benny tells her that Jay is like his dad to him. Here Blair tells him that Victor has captured his brother Jay, while Zoe tries to attack Rocco with a dagger, but he stops her. Then their fight begins between the girls and Rocco's people. In the next scene, when Blair and Zoe are trying to escape from there, the survivors of the Night Legion also reaches there, who start attacking them with arrows, and Zoe gets hit by an arrow. Blair rescues her somehow and takes her to the car, and after that Benny leaves with both of them. Now they reach their last location, where Benny tries to help them while Blair is taking Zoe in, but Blair refuses, saying it's Victor's house, so you go back to your house because he will kill you. Hearing this, Benny says that I have to save my brother at any cost, but Blair explains to him that now it is too late for this, because by now he must have even killed your brother. Blair tells Benny that you will not come inside the house, and then she goes inside with Zoe. Now Benny is unable to leave, even if he wants to, because he loved his brother very much. So he takes the decision to save him, and goes inside Victor's house with a baseball bat. Inside he sees many people who were imprisoned for blood by Victor. Then Benny sees that Jay was also tied up with the same people, where his blood was being drawn, due to which he had become very weak. Benny tries to get him out by breaking the glass with a baseball bat, but only then Victor reaches there and stop him. He then takes Benny to Blair and Zoe and asks him to join his team here. Benny tells Victor to let Jay go and keep him here in his place, but Victor flatly refuses to do so. Hearing this, Benny tries to attack Victor with a knife, but Victor stops him. Benny then proceeds to attack Victor again, but Zoe stops him by attacking him, to which Blair gets angry at her and says that Benny saved her life. Now Victor says that we should drink his blood, on which Blair tries to stop them. Here Zoe explains to her that we have always been together, and everything is going to be fine now, but Blair does not listen to her. All this makes Zoe angry and she says that you were nothing without me. I made you and now you cannot deceive me like this, and saying that she attacks Blair with a knife. Seeing all this, Benny presses the remote of his car, which causes his car to break the glass of the wall and enter the house, due to which he burns to death due to sunlight. But Victor hides in the dark. Just then Jay also comes their way. He tries to warn Benny that Victor wants to trap him, but Benny does not understand anything. Just then Victor drags Jay back into the darkness, causing Benny to step in to save him, and Victor grabs and bites him. Then Blair attacks Victor from behind, but he gets nothing from this attack, and he hits Blair and throws her away. Then Jay somehow pushes Victor into the sunlight, due to which he too gets burned to death. After this, we see Jay and Benny talking, where Benny has become a vampire, and Jay explains to him that you should never forget where you belong. Now when Benny starts leaving from there, he tells Jay that he has left something for him. When Jay checks the bag kept under the table, he finds the same bag full of money that Benny had found lying in the car. In the next scene, we see Benny and Blair together and they are both very happy. And the movie ends here. Thanks for watching.